And Mr. Lutnick, as you know, has an April 1st deadline that the President gave him in the initial executive orders in terms of reviewing the trading relationships of the United States. My conversations with him have been around structuring an economic deal that's in the interests of Canada and the United States. So that's the conversation we're hoping to have with him today.
Diplomacy working, though, in the sense that, I mean, you have a the President makes unilateral decisions, and that changes the goalposts, as Premier Ford was saying yesterday. Are you concerned about that? I mean, is this just a quixotic quest being down here?
So I'm not pessimistic. I am optimistic by nature. I'm encouraged by the conversations we've had with Mr. Lutnick. We're also seeing the economic policy advisor at the White House with Mr. Lutnick today. We see this as very positive. President Trump will make the public statements he makes. He'll organize his government the way he wants. Our job is to defend Canada's economic interest and to deal with the elected government that's in place in Washington and be as constructive as we can, because we're convinced that there's so much more we can do economically and in terms of security, national security, border security together, than if we're spending time figuring out who imposes what tariff on whom. So we believe also that the American business interests will be able to advocate what we think is a solid argument that we're going to continue to make to Mr. Lutnick about the benefits of doing these things together instead of looking to tariff one another.
Every act of diplomacy that the federal government, and the premiers put forward is met by an act of aggressive tariffs. So the point is it possible that you can pull the trigger on those retaliatory tariffs early? Because it appears that the White House, the Trump administration, may only understand an act of, I guess, force.
No, we're not looking to go ahead of the United States in some kind of tariffs. We don't think tariffs are the way to proceed. So we're certainly not going to do anything before the Americans make their ultimate decision. And what the Americans have said to us privately and what they've said publicly is that we have a number of weeks to work together. And President Trump's words were very precise: to structure an economic deal with Canada. So that's exactly the conversation that we're going to continue today. But our focus is on avoiding the tariffs and strengthening the economic partnership. So that wouldn't be particularly constructive as an approach in the next few weeks.
Perhaps a personal vendetta against Mr. Trudeau. Like, do you think that President Trump's seeming dislike for Mr. Trudeau is driving any of this punishment of Canada?
I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. I don't spend my time imagining what motivates people. I have a job to do as Canada's Finance Minister to try and strengthen the economy of Canada. Our most important economic relationship is with the United States. It has been a source of prosperity and security for both countries for decades. The Americans chose a new administration that has views on tariffs and what it means for their economy. So our job is to make Canada's case that we're much stronger working together as economic partners than applying tariffs on one another. We have a number of weeks to make that argument, and that's the main focus of what we're doing, and we're not spending our time imagining the motivations of anybody. It's not particularly constructive.